been a journey. I just came from like a 6-7 hour session of literally lore hunting in a sense. I tried to stream watching the anime with you guys. I kind of watched it, but I wasn't really paying attention. And some of the people that I was watching with, the guy he told me about this lore, about the lore. And I guess I never thought about looking up Gravity Rush lore, you know? Even though when I played the game, I was so confused. And I felt like I never thought about it because I was just so confused, but I was also so content with my confusion, I guess you could say. But either way, he said it was like, I think his name was Lombax. If you're here in the comment section, what's up, bro? You're the reason, like, thank you so much. But either way, so yes, I went through like lore hunting, alright? So I have figured out what is going on. It's mainly from all the things that I'm picking up, you know, all that kind of stuff. But there is some type of theory of my own theory inside of what I'm going to be telling you, but for the most part this is basically what's going to happen, and it's kind of like the whole plot of what Gravity Rush 2 is going to be like. And the thing is, it's like, yeah, you might not want to be spoiled like this, but at the same time the game is so mysterious and doesn't tell you a whole lot that I feel like to really get what you want to get out of this game, you really gotta understand it, especially the first one before you go into this number 2. Because I feel like if you go into number 2 being not so sure of everything, it's just, you're just not gonna get the same experience. It might not be a bad experience, it's not gonna be the same. So with that being said, this little theory that I have going up, everything that I'm going to be explaining about what happened and what's going on in the animation, it's coming from a article in GameFAQs that I'm going to be linking in the description. So if you want to at least have a small idea of what I'm about to be telling you, I would recommend you at least read the original poster's full length of theory for the whole game. It doesn't matter if you understand too much, because I think I'll clear it up a little bit. But if you read that, I think you'll be alright. And there's also going to be another link to the Gemitsu post that explains some stuff in Gravity Rush 2, which is how we're going to be understanding really what's going on in this animation. So I've talked for a little bit too much, so without further ado, let's go ahead and get into explaining what happened in Gravity Rush Overture. Are you ready? So let's start with part 1. It starts out with a shadow, mysterious person walking, and all of a sudden you see a flashing eye. Now this part is very important. It's basically a link as well to part 2's ending, I guess you could say, a little closer to the end of it. So I'm obviously assuming you guys have watched the animation. Now I'm also hoping you guys have also beaten Gravity Rush 1, because there is going to be some type of spoilers in this. So if you haven't and you don't want to be spoiled, exit the video right now. Probably should have said that before, but hey, whatever. But anyways, so you see this mysterious guy walking, and then you see a red eye flashing. And if you remember, obviously in part 2, you see that robot with that flashing red eye. Now, I'm pretty sure, you know, who else would it be? I'm pretty sure that is the same thing. It's the same robot. Now, if we want to ask of who that guy is, it's going to be Dr. Brahmin. Okay, so in a post that whenever they're explaining some stuff to us, they introduced a few characters. So we have not actually ever seen Dr. Brahmin for ourselves, like in terms of the game's engine or even the anime, I guess you could say. But they have given us his official, I guess, artwork, I guess you could say. And so that post, like I was saying, is Gemitsu. I will link that in the description below. If you go look at that, it gives us also a brief description of Dr. Brahmin. Now the thing is with that description is it's very like tricky, because it makes you think that this dude is the savior. But now this is kind of where my theory is coming in. I do not think Dr. Brahmin is a good person at all. I think that's all a mask in a sense. And now I'm gonna go ahead and explain. Before I explain that, let me continue on with part 1. So after that, you see that robot come in, and so what I'm thinking is going on here is Dr. Brahmin is walking away after setting up his robot. And if you look at part 2, at the same part, whenever they show like the little place where they're in, a little like building they're in, you see that the guards are dead. There's dead guards on the ground, and they are Hexville guards. That's something to keep in mind. And so this part 1, right about now, you're probably really confused, because it shows this weird thing, this eye, and then all of a sudden it goes over to Cat and Raven having fun. Okay, it's kind of confusing. But what's basically going on here is that first scene is still linking to part 2, whereas that first scene is actually what happened right after Gravity Rush 1. Okay, so that scene, that's the thing. This first scene in part 1 of this anime is still kind of part 2's time setting, because part A and B for this animation are 2 different time settings. Part 2's time setting is around when the demo, I think. Okay, whenever you first start the demo, you come to that new law or something, where the heck it is, and you're touring it, that you're going to see, and all of a sudden Nevi come. The exact same thing that happens in the animation, so I'm pretty sure that's the same timeline. Either way, this timeline is not the beginning of Gravity Rush 2. This is later on in Gravity Rush 2, because you don't return to Hexville until, I think, they said it showed chapter 14. Now, how I know this is because in that post from Gemitsu, it gives us a few screenshots. And one of the things it says, oh, you will return to Hexville. And it says that it shows chapter 14 is whenever she's in Hexville. And I know that right off the bat, you are not starting off in Hexville. That's kind of what it says this has been telling. Maybe you do, and then I don't know. I'm pretty sure you don't, because this animation was supposed to be showing us what happens and how you start with Gravity Rush 2, and at the end of part 2, kind of says that you're starting here in a sense. So that's what's going on. And so after that, it's kind of like nothing is too relevant, I guess. You know, it's just Cat and Raven exploring this new town. Okay, Nevi come, but at the end, that's where another significant thing happens. If you remember, Cat says something like, "Oh, there's this gravity storm, just like that day in Hexville." That's basically, so what happened. Basically, what's going on is she's reminiscing about what happens in part 2, and so I'll give you now my base theory. Okay, so my base theory before we go into part 2. So my base theory is Dr. Brahman. How it says in the description, he's like the savior of Hexville. He's like just saving everybody. I think that's all his plan. You know, he gathers the people's trust and everything, and then from there he's just gonna do bad stuff. Now, I'm thinking in this screenshot you should be seeing. This is from some things that I caught. So I was actually watching a Let's Play. I'll put the girl's link in the description, because it was a very good Let's Play of Gravity Rush Remastered. Very good, very good. I liked it a lot, and it helped me a lot because she did like every little thing, and so I was able to see that. So at the end of Gravity Rush 1, after you've beaten the final boss, there's a few things, and they literally talk. It's basically setting itself up for a sequel, and that's exactly what it did. And so this one thing says, perhaps so. This is but the calm before the storm, after all. And then next up, it says, and a harbinger of destruction shall descend from on high. And so that might not make a whole bunch of sense to you, but think about it. This dude, Dr. Bauman. Now, as of right now, we don't know how he ended up or how he appeared, but these things are like kind of symbolizing, like his description made it seem like he came out of kind of like nowhere. You know, he just kind of appeared and built this big defensive system for Hexville. And it just so happened around the same time, maybe not around, but like it just so happens that Cat is gone when he comes and starts doing the basically remodeling. Like I feel like the whole Hexville, like he's just changing it and just taking it under his wing and saying, I will protect you guys. So now let's talk about part 2. This is where a lot of lore comes in and it really starts making sense. But in terms of the whole episode, you know, explaining, starts off with Cat and Raven. This is just about probably a few days, or not, probably a few months maybe after Gravity Rush 1, and they're bored. You know, they're just kind of chilling. They're eating. You know, they're eating a lot, and this is funny. I like this a lot because I don't think it symbolizes anything, but it just shows personality. Like they both eat a lot. Like that's typical white girls. They always be eating and shit, like chilling out with their girlfriends, literally just eating, and then they're just eating, and then the next thing you know, there's an announcement about something happening. They go to this building, and what do you know? That robot from part 1 is there, and he says, I've been expecting you guys. And so basically, Raven knows has a bad feeling about it, kicks the thing down, and these 2 mysterious beings come down from the freaking air, from the damn air, start fighting, blah blah blah. They fight. After they beat them, the guy says something about they need I don't know what item, star genome, I think it was, and it's like he's like they're incomplete, we need the star genome. And so he says, my angels, bring me the star genome and return it to me, or something like that. That's where it gets crazy. I need a little break real quick. We good. So now, before I start explaining who these 2 beings are, let me explain what that building is, what's going on in that building. So before I do that, let me explain some of those. So this is coming from the lore. This is coming from like the side stuff that you might have missed in Gravity Rush 1. So if you remember, there was two couples, Nala and Signal. I think that's how S-I-G. No, you might not know who they are, but again, I said read that lore thing. If you just read the original posters, you'll understand what's going on. But either way, there's these two couples that were doing back in the day. They did experiments. They messed up. Now their bodies are like in different time-space dimensions. But either way, one of them named Nala. Nala actually says that there are other towers. Okay, she says that, oh, she thinks so basically Hexville is on this big pillar, this big tower. That's what they're calling it. And so Nala tells Kat that she's seen someone that looks like Kat, and that she's seen other towers. She thinks there's other towers of these towns, because in terms of what's going on in Gravity Rush 1, it's just Hexville, and then there's other towns that were attached to it, and they got disconnected, okay? And so now it's saying that she thinks there's one big tower that's Hexville. She's saying that there's other ones with other, obviously the other things floating around it. And so that's where all the new destination that Kat's going to be going to in Gravity Rush 2 it comes into play, okay? If you remember, okay, around probably middle of the game, probably one of the most memorable things whenever you go down to the little child's village. And now, one thing that doesn't make sense is, why are they all kids? Okay, that's something that didn't make sense. And in this animation, it kind of gives us an answer of why they're all kids, okay? And wow, it gets really crazy right here, guys. It gets really crazy. So in the theory, the whole, the one that I read, the whole game is based on gravity. As you know, the whole is Gravity Rush, Gravity Days. But not just the name gravity, not just the action of how she flies through gravity, but gravity's principles. Now, that's why these people looked it up. Albert Einstein, he had this theory of I don't know what the heck it's called, but they said it in the thing. But either way, the theory was saying that gravity affects time. It was saying if the space clock, and they also did an example, the space clock on NASA in space is going, I don't know if they said faster or slower than our clocks in the here. Because the amount of gravity affects time. Now, it's not a big time. In real life, it's not a big effect. It's like nanoseconds of time, but it's still a time difference. Now, of course, this is a game, so they kind of personify that in the sense of just making it blown out of proportion. So what's going on basically in this game is the lower you are in the worlds is the slower time moves. That's why they're all kids. When they got stuck there, barely any time has passed for them. That's why they're still kids. Now, whenever Kat comes back up, if you remember, this is why I had to look back at Let's Plays. When Kat comes back up, what she felt was like a day or a couple days that she was missing, like was gone from the town, was a year in Hexville's time. And now the theory is thinking that the higher where Kat's I think that her castle's all the way at the top, and I'm thinking that at that castle, that's where time moves normally, and I think Hexville's time is a little bit normal, but not completely normal. That's what I'm thinking. Now, a side thing that I think might be happening, I'm thinking that maybe that bus that had the kids in purposely went down there. They purposely knew Kat was gonna go down there. Some mastermind purposely knew that all those events were gonna happen, and it was gonna come back up, and those kids were going to be trapped in there. Because if you remember at the end of Gravity Rush 1, they're trapped in there. But the thing is, whenever they were trapped in there, the arc wouldn't open up, or the kids were stuck asleep, I think it was. Now, I'm not, and so this is where I'm not sure if those kids are the ones inside of in the animation. I'm not sure if the kids from the arc are the ones in those little cradles, or if this is random orphans. And I think it is random orphans because they also said this in the animation. At the beginning of part 2, Kat and Raven are talking about, oh, there's more orphans going missing, and like they were just confused of what's going on. And so, like I said, I'm thinking that these orphans are either ones from the arc, but I don't think so, or they're just random orphans. And so I think, so this is how it's happening. It starts out with Dr. Brahmin, who's the one that's taking these orphans, because also in, I think it was part 2, it says, just rest, young angels, like just relax and you will be reborn. Okay, so basically Dr. Brahmin is taking orphans and transforming them in to angels. And then this is where Kali and Durga come in. I think those are his two first angels that he made, the perfect versions of them, and now he's using them as a publicity stunt, okay? In this screenshot also from Gematsu, it shows that the girl, she says, oh, I want to be an angel just like you, and Kali's like, you promise. Why would she say that, you know? Why would she say that? You promise. It's like, you promise. Now she's gonna kidnap her, or because it cuts off, or maybe she explains, if you come blah 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 at this blah 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 time, you can become an angel yourself. And so what happens is they capture them, they get them stuck there. And so that's why these two, Durga and Kali, are very important, because in the animation, these little orphans keep saying, Durga, Kali, where are you? I'm hungry, and all that kind of stuff, because they look up to Kali and Durga. That's why I said they're a publicity stunt. Dr. Brahman made these two to make it look like angels are good things, you know, and that he gave them the name of angels because, think about it, you know. But something that's tripping me up is in the trailers, it shows Kali actually helping Kat, like taking her up, and so I can't tell if Dr. Brahman made Kali and Durga, or these ones are like different from the upstairs or something like that, you know. So it's not obviously clear with me, but that's what's I think that's what's going on here. And another thing to note is at the beginning also, I think it is of part 1, and I think they show it in part 2, I'm not sure, the missing signs. If you notice, you can clearly see Sienna and I think Satya, which is Raven, but nobody really knows that yet. Satya is also visible, and I was trying to see if I could see Zaza, but I'm not sure. But what I'm thinking of these kids that are still sleeping, I think that they may be the key. Okay, I think they're gonna be the key at the end of Gravity Rush 2. I think they might like save us all or something like that, or just be the key to. I think they're gonna play a big part. That arc is gonna play a big part. I'm thinking that. But now I guess if we go back to explaining who those two mysterious things that fought Kat and Raven are, that is something that I am not very sure, because the Dr. Brahman is trying to make angels, right? But at the same time, Kali and Durga, you know, I don't know. But the thing is to note, very big thing to note about those two enemies, is that they have the same power as Kali and Durga. In the description, we don't actually see it, but it says that Kali's wings, or Durga's wings, are made out of crystalline time or some shit. But either way, if you notice, whenever they're fighting those two robot things, they're crystalline. You see that crystal type of stuff happening. So Kali, that's what I'm trying. So like, I think those are angels, but I don't know if he made them evil or something like that. But they're just not perfect or something, you know. So I just think that you know, basically Kali, Durga, and those two things are all the same, is what I'm trying to say. I think they're all related. They're both angels. They're both created the same way, you know. But I just don't know what sets Durga and Kali apart from those two things, you know. But that's obviously something we don't know yet, and we probably will figure it out once Gravity Rush 2 hits. And so in terms of what happens now, so, you know, at the very end though, so the robot and all like those two enemies got sucked up, and the thing is, Kat and Sid also got sucked up, and like they've told us, the beginning of Gravity Rush 2 starts off with Sid and Kat getting sucked up into some mysterious area, and so that is basically what happens in the animation, and just an explanation. You know, that's now you should be kind of up to par, I guess, in a general aspect of what's going on in the two games. Now, like I said, there are some stuff that there's a lot of stuff I left out from the lore, the creator, Sienna, all that kind of stuff. I left all that out because just because if I did keep that in, this video would be like an hour long, you know what I'm saying? So I recommend you go read that stuff for yourself. It's a really nice read, and if you really are feeling into it, just keep going through the pages because they really go back and forth, and it's just very interesting. So other than that, that's all I gotta say. I hope you guys enjoyed. Be sure to leave a like and share this video with everyone that was confused with that animation, because this is it. Or it's not, you know. If you guys have any theories, let me know in the comments below. Prove me wrong. I'm ready, you know. I'm ready to throw around theories and everything with you guys. That's why I want you guys to read that, you know, so we can all be on the same page, because I really was very confused for both but everything, just everything in the whole game. I was very confused. I didn't know a lot of stuff, and that shit really helped me. So I recommend that, and we can have a little conversation in the comments below. But other than that, that's all I gotta say. So be sure to leave a like, share the video, and I will see you all, and subscribe for obviously more stuff, and Gravity Rush 2 obviously. But other than that, I will see you guys in the next video. So yeah, peace.
You see, I'm waiting and they hating, and I'm sipping on my tea. Bad bitch walking past, may I stop you, please? Man, I'm hungry as a bitch, but this life ain't free. If I'm trying to get this money, I can't really shake a tree. I be working, it's a 3:15. When I stop